King Paranormal team. How's everybody doing? Let's see, we got 4 people so far, not bad.
Cool.
So, welcome to the Scarethusiast Club, episode one. I just want to say thank you because you're legitimately my first guest. Um, just to give you a little background about me, I've been a paranormal investigator for this is my third year, 3.5 years. I live in Grand Junction, Colorado. So there's not many black paranormal investigators out there. And so, hey, bro, what's up, man?
I'm having some
Um,
trouble hearing. I'm sorry. I'm having trouble hearing you. There's like a delay, and I'm hearing what you said before, and then it's like all coming together and like mixing up.
okay, let's see. How about that? We good?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Okay. So yeah, and I've been on TikTok for about 7 months. So too far away from the phone. Yeah, got you. I'll bring it in closer. Right there. All right. So yeah, so basically, I really reformed my this platform to give a lot of other investigators, a lot of other people who are in the paranormal realm, a lot more shine, just because in the paranormal game, it seems like, just like in a lot of other things in life, you really have that top group, and then they just stay within themselves, whether it's a TV network, whether it's a lot of professional teams. So I want to give shine to a lot of other people. So once again, with that being said, thank you so much for being my first guest. So before we get into the whole paranormal aspect of it, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, maybe a couple childhood memories.
Yeah, of course. So, my name is Allie Rose. I grew up in Florida, and basically my journey with the paranormal started because I grew up in a house that was extremely haunted. And I have no idea why it was so haunted, but it was, and that inspired me to later start ghost hunting. And I actually have a book out now about my experiences from then when I was a kid. Um, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your family, brothers, sisters.
I don't really have like have family. I'm not really close to my family, but I live with my fiance right now.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Um, so have you had any paranormal experiences that really shocked you in a way, maybe have had a lasting effect? Because you just said you had a book, and I've been
Oh
following
yeah.
you for a while. So,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely.
what would you say would be your most intense experience?
Oh, so I've had quite a few. Um, One of the ones that scared me the most was when I was a kid. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I'm not sure if this was sleep paralysis or not, but I saw this lady on the ceiling, and she wasn't like hanging from the ceiling. She was like on her back against the ceiling, if that makes sense. And her mouth was open, and her hair was like branched out like she was underwater. Yeah, and I have no idea what that was about, but it scared the hell out of me. Um, I also used to see shadow people all the time in my room. Like to this day, I can't sleep in the dark unless like my fiance's with me. It just freaks me out a lot.
Right.
And when I was ghost hunting, probably my most intense experience when I was ghost hunting was at a place called Jordan Cemetery in Cantonment, Florida. Um, there's not really any lore about it being super haunted or anything, but I always, every time I went by that area, I would get really creeped out. So I decided to go investigate there with my old ghost hunting group. And we ended up getting chased out of the cemetery by just this. We saw a shadow figure and then it started coming towards us, and we got this like really scared, like panicky feeling, like something wanted us to leave. So we started sprinting out. And every time I looked like over to the side, I would see something like peeking out from behind a tree. And I was like, I thought that it was in my head because I was so freaked out. But then my friends were like, "Did you see the people peeking out from behind the trees?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm not the only one." So yeah, that was really intense and really scary.
Jeez. Okay. So I've only had one experience with a shadow figure. It
Mhm.
was legitimately my first paranormal investigation at a place called Mesa Theater out here in Grand Junction. Um, what happened was my Facebook audience, because I did on Facebook, they were telling me to go completely black out, and we'll just start be quiet, see what we can get, see what we can feel. So I did that in about I think like 3 or 4 minutes into it. Where I was sitting at, there was a mirror to my left that was reflecting the bathroom area that was over to my right, and I saw legitimately this just shadow that was darker than basically pitch black. It freaked me out for a second because, I mean, as you know, when you experience these things, you don't know if you're in the right state of mind at that moment. You don't know if the mind's playing tricks on you. Um, so I had that moment of when that happened. So then I continued the investigation, and I had another investigator who's no longer part of my team. He came back with photo evidence. He took a picture, and legitimately, it was in the bathroom in the top right hand corner, facing out exactly where I saw it. Except for when I saw it in the reflection, it looked like it was straight up on the mirror, but in retrospect, it was actually in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy. Yeah, like shadow people probably freak me out the most, like out of any other like paranormal thing. It's because like there are so many different like ideas as to what they are, and they just look creepy in general. Um, I also got video evidence of a shadow person a long time ago when I was a kid. I didn't even mean to. I used to make like videos on my old computer, like the webcam, and I was just sitting like talking, and all of a sudden I was like showing a video to the webcam on my camera, and it wouldn't work, and I was like, oh, what's going on? And so when I pulled it away from the camera, you see this like dark figure like run behind me.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
Super
So have you
scary.
ever had any? Well, first, let me give a shout out to Spirit Squad Paranormal for not only sharing, but they're also future guests later on in the season. If you guys are still in live, thank you guys so much for sharing this. Make sure you guys go follow Allie. She's good people. I like her content. We're gonna get into her book here shortly. Choking Hazard, thank you for joining. Fabian, Clayton, Richard, thank you for joining. Um, got a question for you, okay? What
Okay.
is the strangest piece of evidence you've ever caught?
Ooh, let me think on that for a second.
I'll
um,
I'll go first.
okay, go ahead. Yeah.
All right. So I got a couple pieces of evidence. I have one piece of evidence where one of my friends who joined me, um, she's also assistant of mine. Her name is Tanya. We took her on an investigation. She's not an investigator. She's just an assistant. She helps out, behind the scenes. She's really good people. She was actually getting hit on by a spirit when we went to the Colorado State Prison. Her very first investigation, when she was with us, a spirit told us to shut up and go make coffee. Now, one of the craziest ones I have two of them. I had one where a door shut on me, which is crazy. So we were at
Yeah.
this location, Mr. McDonald's house, out here in Grand Junction, and we took a tour. We did some EVP readings, and when we got to that room, they had an animal there, and as soon as the dog went up to the closet that they were talking about, it immediately left. Like it was not about it. People tried to call it, and I think it was. I don't remember what the dog's name was, but so later on, we're having a good time downstairs. They're messing with some tarot cards, things like that. I decide to go upstairs by myself and see what I can get. So I go into the room, and I know a lot of people. There's a good amount of people who are not with the Spirit Box, or they're not with the Spirit Box apps. I have the Necrophonic app, and the reason why I have that is because I've had so many crazy experiences that you guys can check out my content. Obviously, you've been checking it out.
Hmm.
Um, but seconds before I grabbed it to go into that room, Thank you for sharing once again, Spirit Squad. I hope you guys are doing well. Once I went into that room, I did not hear uh, the Spirit Box app, the Necrophonic app, say my name in two syllables, Jesse. So then I go into the closet and I'm really just chilling, and all of a sudden this rush of just cold energy and cold air just goes all around my body, and I think I hear something to my right. Now, when you watch the video, once again, the clip is on my TikTok. But once you just see the door just start to shut on its own. What I am going to do is I'm going to re-release that clip to show another part of the angle when we were there earlier, because a
Mhm.
lot of think, well, not a lot of people, some people obviously the dads think that there was someone standing behind the door, but when you look, the wall is literally right there, so you can't.
Wow. That's like that would have freaked me out.
Well, see, and it makes me excited, but in that moment, like I was so excited to grab my team that when you watch it, it looks and sounds like I may have been in shock, or I've been like, oh no, I gotta get out of there. But I was just like, no way.
Yeah.
Um, so when I get there, like, oh man, that's crazy. So now it's your turn. Your crazy piece of experience or evidence or
Yeah. So sorry, I didn't hear the last thing you said.
whatever. So what was your craziest piece of evidence or experience you've had besides what you've already told us?
Yeah, so I was visiting Monticello, Florida, which is about 15 minutes outside of Tallahassee. And I was just like with my like family group and we were taking pictures by the I should probably like state I'm not close to my family anymore, but I used to be at one point. So this was during a time that I was. And I was with my family. I was we were visiting this old jail. It's called like the old Monticello jail or something, and you can't go into one of the buildings, but the women's prison section is open to the public to like just go into, and it's like completely abandoned, but it's like a really small building, so it's not like dangerous to go in or anything. So I was there, I was taking pictures, um and like just normal taking pictures and then went home. Like I wasn't ghost hunting or anything. And a couple years later, I went back and I was looking at the pictures and I noticed that in one of the black and white photos that I took, there was this weird figure by the end of the steps that were on the outside of the prison. And to me, it looks like a woman who is crouched at the end of the stairs, like kind of in a fetal position with her hands like this.
Okay.
And yeah, there was nothing there at the time. I went back and I looked at other pictures. There was nothing. There wasn't a plant. There wasn't like a pole. There wasn't like anything that would make you think that you saw something that wasn't there. Like there was absolutely nothing there. So I have no idea where that came from. And the fact that it was a woman's prison and it was a figure of a woman was especially like creepy to me.
Now it's cool that you bring up prisons because a part of this show there's part of the segment where I like to interact with those who are watching. So if you guys are watching right now, give us your theory on why prisons, asylums, and hospitals are dark, very very dark places.
hmm
We'll let you guys comment, but share with us your ideas. Why do you think it's so haunted? Irish Cats Paranormal. Nice. I'm glad that you dropped in, man. It's good to see you guys. Guys, thank you for sharing if you're sharing it. But make sure you go and follow Allie Rose, also known as at Spooky Alley Cake. I was
Yeah.
saying that with an S all week, and then I realized there was no S on the end, so it's cake, not cakes.
Yeah,
But make
it's all
sure you
good.
guys comment. Let us know what you guys' theory on is why prisons and asylums are so haunted. Um, so now you have a book. Let's get into your book. What was the
Yeah.
inspiration behind your book?
So honestly, I always wanted to write one because I've been writing since I was a child. I have a degree in English creative writing. Like it's kind of my thing. And I've also read several other books about people's paranormal experiences. Honestly, like Ryan Buell from Paranormal State, his book is one of my favorite books ever. And I know that this is a little controversial, but Zach Bagans has some pretty good books out from Ghost Adventures. There are people who don't like him, but I think that he's really passionate about what he does, even if he can be a little over the top sometimes. And his book also, I was like, man, like I really want to do something like that. So I just wrote down all the experiences I could remember, which clearly were not every experience I've had because I've made several videos of things I didn't include in my book. And I just wrote them all down and within like a couple weeks wrote the first draft and then started editing and then it took me a couple months and I self-published it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Um, Now, when it came to, was this like a form of when you were doing this process? Was it just because you just wanted to for so long, or was it a form of therapy to this process?
It was honestly kind of both because like yeah, I had wanted to for a really long time, but also like a lot of the experiences I had when I was a kid really, really scared me. So like being able to write about them and kind of interact with other people who read my work and they're like, "Oh my gosh, the same thing happened to me." It's like it's kind of it's almost therapeutic in a way because it's like I know I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who this kind of stuff happened to. Um yeah, and just also writing stuff down is just therapeutic in general for me. So it kind of makes it less scary because I'm like putting it into a medium that I enjoy, if that makes sense. And I do enjoy paranormal things a lot, but the stuff that happened to me when I was a kid, I did not like at all. It was terrifying.
See, and I grew up, I never really experienced that because, I grew up in a Christian home. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of, like, we couldn't even go out for Halloween. Like, that's how it was.
Yeah.
But growing up, I love Halloween. Hey guys, thank you guys for dropping in. Kiki, 1997. Um, if you right now we got a question going on. Why do you guys think haunted prisons and asylums are as dark as they are? And obviously, we can say it's because people die there, but give us your theory on really why. If there's a reasoning behind that, okay? Back to what we were saying though. What were we talking about? Hold up. Oh, I'm a bad host. Oh no. Um,
Um, oh gosh, now I'm having a moment where I just my mind entirely went blank.
okay. So we did the question. Therapy. Oh well. Well, we'll just keep it going. So now do you actually investigate as well? Like how often do you go out and investigate?
I don't anymore. I haven't in a really long time, but I plan to restart soon. I I noticed a lot when I was a kid when I investigated stuff would tend to follow me home. So I don't really want to deal with that. So I haven't really investigated, but I've gone to like haunted places and visited, but I haven't like attempted communication. But I do intend to visit some of the old places. I'll be back in my hometown like next year. Not like permanently, but like I'll visit for a little bit. And I plan on revisiting some of the old locations for TikTok and maybe doing some investigations. I don't know. Yeah.
Nice. Um, does your fiance investigate as well or no?
No, he comes with me though to support me, but he doesn't really believe he doesn't really believe in ghosts or anything. But it actually helps keep me grounded because sometimes I'll start to freak myself out and he'll be like he'll help me debunk things. And I'm just like, okay, thank you.
And that's good that you have someone that really balances you out like that. I think
Yeah.
it's that healthy way because I know there are a fair amount of people who really get into the paranormal game by themselves. And
Hmm.
I mean, hey, that's fine and dandy, but you really got to take extra precaution. Like for myself, I have a team, that I have, they're like they're Batman to, they're Robin, whatever people would say. But, even having a team, you have to take into account like their health, their, current minds, state of mind, the knowledge that they know, if we're really taking an effect of really putting into our research because once you really get into it, because there's an aspect of like ghost hunting where it's like the fun part where you can just show up, see what happens, and usually those locations, hopefully they're not going to the darker ones with that, just because if you go to a darker one like let's say Waverly Hills or Penhurst, things like that, you really have to be prepared in some way, shape, or form. And if you're going in there like it's a game, sometimes that can be dangerous.
Hmm.
I follow a couple of YouTube channels overnight, and I do enjoy kind of how they do their style, just because it's like it's with the fellas, they're trying to have a good time, but also sometimes I feel like they paint a picture that it can be too fun. And I mean, they're pulling out divot boxes, they're pulling out
Yeah.
all kinds exactly all kinds of crazy objects, and I think it's important. That's why I think I kind of created this platform to be this, because I think that as paranormal investigators and teams, we all have to have a network in some way, shape, or form, because there's so much information out there. And it's not like there's a stat, but I mean, how many people really get harmed by anything paranormal or anything supernatural?
Yeah.
It's a good amount.
Yeah.
And I think that
Yeah.
we have to really have a system or a way to really have a conglomerate of experiences. Because like the longer I'm in this game, like I don't know what the end is. I don't know up, down, left. It's like the universe. It just keeps going.
Yeah. Yeah, and like one thing that I've learned to do since having investigated a long time ago is like I know more about like protecting myself and like what not to do and those kind of things. And also I totally agree with you on Ghost Adventures. Like I love the show. They're very entertaining, but as you said, they pull out like Dybbuk boxes and things like that. And as you were just talking about, and they're provoking stuff and taunting stuff, and I'm like not down for that. So I feel like if you go in respectfully and you go in knowing that there is like that you need to be careful, but also not pushing things too far, if you know what I mean, then I feel like I'm more comfortable with that, but I still haven't in a while.
Right. Which brings me to a interesting question, because like I mean obviously we're in where are you at right now? Florida, right?
No, I'm in like Virginia right now.
Virginia. I'm in Colorado. So we're in America, right?
Yeah.
But in some other cultures, some other aspects around the world, for like the Asian culture, whenever they're ghost hunting, their thing is to verbally attack and really go after when they experience some of these things. And do you think that weighs in a factor when it comes to investigating around the world? Because I know America, we're a younger country. I mean, but there's other places, like I said, the Asian culture, they're a lot older than us. They have a lot more experiences, but they legitimately, I mean, I don't know how many videos I watch where they see something pop their head and they go running at it, just saying, F your mother, all this other, crazy
Yeah.
stuff. Do you think that weighs into effect of how entities would respond to us, is how we investigate them? If I went to a location a week after you did, but I was a lot more aggressive, do you think that it would? How do you think the results would be worse, or do you think the results would be the same?
Um, I don't know. I think that all depends on the entity itself because some locations are like more of a residual type haunting where it's like the entity doesn't seem to be like intelligent. It seems to be just like the energy is replaying, you know? I don't know if you've heard of that. You probably have. But then there's other places where the entities are intelligent and it depends on what their kind of personality is. Because sometimes you'll go somewhere and the more you provoke something, the less it's going to want to show itself to you. But then there's other places where the personality of the entity is more like, oh, this person's provoking me, I'm gonna mess them up. Like, so I think it depends on
Well,
the type of entity.
thanks, Easy, for the panda, the rose. I believe you just sent the popcorn. That's family right there. I hope you're having fun on your weekend out, buddy. Um, Thank you for Irish Cats. Thank you for the rose. Have you ever had anything attack you, or any locations mess with your energy? I mean,
Yes. So I have two separate instances that were kind of the biggest instances of being like attacked by something. So there was this old hospital. It's one of my favorite places to investigate in my hometown. And normally I didn't find any dark energy there. Um, but okay, so the location is kind of weird. It has an active pizza club in the former morgue. Yeah, of the hospital, but the rest of the hospital is like kind of like it's almost it's not a museum, but it's like it's open to the public to like go and explore, and there are little exhibits that you can look at their past tools, past photos, and things like that. So I was actually there for a friend's birthday party. I was not investigating this time. We were in the pizza club, and before the food even came out, all of a sudden it literally felt like someone was stabbing me in the stomach. And like I was in excruciating pain. I could barely talk. And I was like, what the heck? So I got up and I like went into the hallway to see if like walking around would help. It was like not helping at all. I came, sat back down, tried to drink some water. That wasn't helping. Like nothing helped. So I decided to go outside and like get some air. The second I walked out, it stopped. Like complete like someone flipped a light switch and it was gone. And I was like, maybe it was a coincidence. So I stepped back into the building and it started right back up. So I think something did not want me there. That was a really scary experience because it hurt so much. There were no physical marks or anything though. And there was another time that I wasn't even ghost hunting at this time. I was at a lock-in for an old church because I also grew up like Baptist. And we it's basically where like the youth group stays the night at the church with some of the like teachers and like youth leaders and preachers and stuff like that, and they play games, watch movies and stuff. And would send us it was like our last bathroom break before we went to sleep, and they sent me and this group of other girls. They were like sending us in groups to go to the bathroom and then come back. So I went to the bathroom, and as I was like washing my hands, I felt this like burning feeling on my back. And I already had a really creepy vibe in that church, but like this kind of sealed the deal for me because I was like, hey, to the two other girls, I was like, do you see anything on my back? And I lifted my shirt and there were three long scratches like across my back.
oh no, not three.
Yeah, it was three, which is not a good sign.
Uh-uh.
Yeah,
So,
and I was in a church.
well, I see. May I share a theory with you?
Yeah, go ahead.
As well as religion and believing in a higher power and the construct of it is, you can't prevent pain, right?
Yep.
I think sometimes when it comes to people healing themselves, you really have to talk to them about, hey, it's you have to heal yourself. But sometimes when people look for an existential entity or celestial being to be the source of healing, sometimes they may not pay attention to some of the things that they have going on that really seep underneath. And on top of that, being a holy or like a holy property, or being a church, I think
Yeah.
naturally encourages negative energy in this realm. Just because, if we really want to be honest with it, there's been more wars and more things to happen for this whole planet to be covered by the essence of human beings, time and time again.
Yeah.
And so
And
that's
plus
why,
like oh, sorry.
no, no, you're fine. That's
Uh
because that's interesting. You said I mean, how the odds of that being demonic are extremely high because once you start seeing thieves and threes, it's mocking the Trinity.
yep, exactly. It's just like, I mean, a church. I know a lot of people have told me that they were really surprised. And at first I was too, and that was when I was like more religious. But like, I mean, it doesn't surprise me as much now because I've been to a couple other haunted churches and also a church. It's like just because it's a place of like worship, it doesn't mean that it's not run by people and it's not like of the world, if that makes sense. So like it's still just as likely as anywhere else, in my opinion, for it to like for there to be something there. Just, but I mean, some places maybe not, but like I don't know. That church always gave me a bad vibe, and I think it was because of like just the fact that like it's maybe it was like very old, like as you were saying,
Yeah.
like but like again, like it's just it's a place, like it's a location, and energy there is going to be the same as anywhere else, despite the fact that it's a place of worship, in my opinion.
Right.
Like that's what I
See, the
think.
crazy, I agree. Like
Hmm.
the crazy thing that a lot of us we try to fail to realize is that when like especially when it's like looking into a location, the the, the history of it, it's like you not only have to take an effect of the history of it, but you also take an effect of what's happened legitimately on the ground. I
Hmm.
mean, as we all know, throughout the years, soil gets more topsoil, topsoil, topsoil. So there's legitimately points on the earth where it's just a layer of just either residual energy
Yep.
or most likely energy ready to be released. That's why sometimes you have locations where um, schools or something like that, where once you knock them down, you renovate them, all of a sudden you get this influx of energy just
Yep.
because it was down. Um, when it comes to paranormal tools, what is your favorite tool to use?
I don't own any currently at the moment anymore, but I really like standard EVP like a lot. I like it's just really fascinating to like hear the actual voices of like a spirit. But next to that, the spirit box is probably my like top favorite because it's like I know it's really loud, but like it's like
Yeah.
just the the responses that you get are like really clearly intelligent a lot of the time in my experience.
Oh, definitely.
Hmm.
There we go.
Yep. I also have heard a lot of good things about some apps actually, and that's like Necrophonic and GhostTube and things like that. I've never used them, but like I've heard good things about them.
We'll see. We also have a spirit box as well,
Hmm.
and what ended up happening is for me, my entity is more on a business level. So there's some people that either quit what we're doing, or I've had to let an investigator go. But I don't wish any foul harm. I mean, I paid for almost everything, but
Hmm.
I donated to the investigator my spirit box just so if they decided down the road they want to continue something, they can do that. So I gotta get another one, but we had spirit box and the apps, and we really try to compare everything into an investigation just because I think that a lot of people, when they say like they're not into the phone apps and they're like, oh, well, it's this and that, we really don't know how things react to the technology we have. We know
Hmm.
that they interact with signals, and phones admit that. And so I never really got like the whole hate behind it. But once again, we ourselves are natural tools as well. We're probably the most important tool that we all have. So if you guys are investigators, you don't have tools, you are your best tool.
Hmm. That's very true. I have a
But
very good friend who, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
no, go ahead, go
Um,
ahead.
I have a pretty good friend who her job is she's a medium and a investigator for like a she does like tour guides or like tour guides. She's a tour guide. She does like tours, like ghost tours and like history tours. And she doesn't really use any equipment. She just like uses like her intuition and like there have been times that like I'm trying to like figure out how to explain this. Oh, she uses her intuition and it ends up being accurate, if that makes sense. Yeah.
I think here, when it comes to like intuition, right? How do you? Because there's a lot. I know you, obviously, you've come across a lot of people, but how do you decipher when someone who is just saying it? Because like for me, locally, I mean, obviously on TikTok, I'm doing quite well. my brands, but locally I'm starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and people just come up to me all the time. It's like, I can feel this, I can feel that. What's one way that you decipher from those who are speaking in the moment as being honest, or having an agenda, or just saying something just to say something? How do you decipher?
Yeah, usually people who, and I'm not saying this about everyone who does this, but usually people who approach others or are looking or like approach others asking for money, or they're like, "Hey, I want to do a reading of you." Usually that I have found to be more of like a scammy type situation. Um, with like the people that I have known, I honestly trust them more because I know them like as a person, and I'm like, okay, she's not the type of person who would just lie about that kind of thing. But I am skeptical a lot of time. I absolutely believe in it. Like I absolutely believe that people have intuition and everything, obviously, but like I am skeptical, especially when someone like reaches out to you and is like, "Hi, I want to do a reading of you. Will you pay me this amount of money?" It's like,
See, and even then, for me, I don't even get there's no money part. There's no like, it's not even when say, hey, I can do this, I can do that for you, I can do this, that,
yeah,
and the other. And I try to really be polite and let them know it's like, hey, I don't, there's no information on you, there's no anything on your background. Like when it comes to this, like I know I started off from scratch, but I mean, a
yeah,
couple years, you can Google me now, but it's like, what do I have to go off to give you the benefit of the doubt? Because naturally, our job is to doubt everything and everything
yeah,
until we do it correctly. So that's like
yeah,
that's I don't want to be mean, but sometimes I'm just like I start asking questions like, okay, what happened to this? What happened to that? Just try to get them to hurry up sometimes because I think it's how you approach a person. Like I've had people come up to me like, hey, do you mind if I talk to you for a second and pull me completely off to the side and
hmm
just tell me a litany of just experiences they got going on. Um, which that's another thing. How important do you think it is for us to be in this aspect of it? Because I know you have never comes to this thing. You have like those who are like considered the professionals, and the rest of us who are considered amateurs. But I mean, in this category, this profession in itself, I think everyone's needed from top to bottom because literally there are lives at stake. Especially for those who take it that serious. Like I know I do. I still have fun with it, but I do understand like if we go to Bobby Mackey's, how
yeah,
many times episodes of a demon being there at Bobby Mackey's? Like if you know what's going
yep.
on, don't sit there and be stupid. But I mean, how important do you think it is as a whole for this community to be tighter? Because we know this community may not be as tight as it should be.
I only heard part of what you just said because the audio kept cutting out. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Basically the question is how important is it for all of us to be on board as being paranormal investigators to really take what we do serious but with a good heart because there are a lot of lives that are at stake. How important is that for us to be all, together on this journey?
Yeah, I think it's really important to know what you could be getting into. But like obviously if it's something that you enjoy doing, like you should still like have fun with it, but like it is still very important to take it seriously and like not to treat like the paranormal as just like a thrill to be played with because it's not a toy. Um, there are some very real life consequences that can come from messing with that stuff. So like be very careful. I wrote about that in my book. I was like, yeah, there were some things that I did when I was a kid that I am like, I would
Ooh,
never do that now.
tell us one of those things. What did you do that you weren't supposed to do?
Oh God, like I would like if there was like a sign of something being like dark or something, I would be like, do you want to hurt us? Like, and like, I now I wouldn't do that. If I felt like something was personally, I would leave. That's not my thing. I really don't want to like, that's partially why I don't really investigate so much anymore is because I'm really sensitive to all kinds of energy like that, but especially dark energy, it really just gets to me. So like I'm like to protect myself, I try not to put myself in that situation. But like back then I was like I would go to places that oh my gosh. One of the things I did, I feel was really disrespectful, honestly, and I feel really bad about this. But there was a I wrote about it in my book. I'm like open about it. There was a house in my friend's neighborhood, and we were teenagers, keep this in mind. Um, it had been abandoned for some time because the owner, like, self unalived, and it was a really tragic situation. And everything in the house was left as it was. And we went and like investigated. And I personally think that is a bit disrespectful. That is not something I would do now. Like that is a real person. Like it's not a toy. You know what I'm saying? And like back then I kind of just looked at it as like a thrill type thing. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, like these are actual people who have died and have lived their lives and lost their lives. Like it's not just the you know what I'm saying?
You have that empathic feeling of it, and but see, and that's where I've had that drive to really become a better investigator because granted, looking outside, looking in, a lot of people are like, oh, he's just doing this for whatever, to be maybe he's weird, maybe he's this or the other. But it's like, for example, I one of my residential investigations was actually my brother's house and his wife, and they had the ashes of their grandparents there, which I didn't know at the time
Hmm.
until stuff hit the fan, and they're like, oh yeah, they're right over there. I'm like, oh, that could have been helpful, but she had been missing her parents, and we really want to connect it to them, and we were able to. We got to the grandmother, and she said that she loved them and she missed them. But I think that when you can make that connection sometimes, like even my own mom, like this last week, she wants to send me a picture of my grandparents so that we can connect to see if they're at least resting in peace. And I'm like, hey, be careful what you ask for. Like I'm game to do it, but
Yeah.
I think that it's a fine line between that. You know, sometimes it's like, do I want to be disrespectful? Because even
Yeah.
in the act of being disrespectful, we can do so much more damage to them in the
Yeah.
afterlife.
Yeah, exactly. Like it ultimately just comes down to realizing that the paranormal is a sentient thing in most I know there's residual energy, but like with intelligent spirits that still have consciousness, like some of them were never human, like darker entities, a lot of them were never human, but like especially the human spirits, like they used to be like us. And just to keep that in mind when interacting with any spirit, whether it's human or not, just I mean, keep in mind that it is sentient, it is aware, it has a consciousness, and it's not something that you just play with. Like it's fine to get evidence and to try to like communicate and things like that, but like when people, including myself, I'm guilty of having done this before in the past when I was a child. When people kind of just treat it as like a thrill-seeking thing, it ends up being a bad situation a lot of the time for either for them or just being disrespectful, you know?
Um, so spooky season's coming up,
I'm
and
excited.
do you have any special plans going on, or are there going to be any special content that you're going to be producing?
I do. I have a couple things coming up, one this month, one next month, but I'm not going to say what it is because it's going to be a surprise. I am so excited though. Like some of it is stuff that I've wanted to do like my entire life. So I'm very excited.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so now just a couple more questions, just more to you, to give me a better idea of who you are as a person, what you're trying to do. So, what is your goal for your brand for TikTok? What are you wanting to do? And there's a reason why I'm asking. So,
I was hearing the audio was cutting out again. I'm so sorry.
oh, I'm sorry. I don't know if it's my signal, but what is the game plan? What is the, I guess, the end game for your brand for your TikTok? Are you just in it to do it for fun? Like for me, I'm in it for fun, but as a business as well. Um, what are you in for?
Yeah, so I do it for fun as well. I really enjoy making content. I enjoy telling my story to other people. I enjoy hearing other people's experiences too. Like I just like connecting with other people who are interested in the same stuff that I am and who have had similar experiences to the things that I have. And I also part of it is a business reason because I do want to promote my book. But it is not only for that. Like I have a lot of fun doing this. Like I make sure to make TikToks every day and it gives me reason to get up and put on makeup and stuff in the morning, which half the time I would not normally do. I'm like just too exhausted. But I'm like, no, I gotta get up and I gotta make my TikToks. So like what I'm saying is it brings a lot of positivity to my life.
Heck yeah. Now are you a part of any community or anything like that in the paranormal game? Like,
Um, I I'm not really part of anything right now. I just moved like a couple months ago to where I'm at now. Like I'm no longer in my hometown. But in my hometown, like I mean, I used to like be pretty familiar with a lot of the people in the paranormal community and go on ghost hunts and stuff. And or at the very least just talk to them. But here I'm still trying to like meet new people in general. But hopefully soon at one of these things that's coming up, I will meet some people. So
heck
yeah.
yeah. So that leads me to my next question. One thing that I do want to do when it comes to the show, like I said earlier, is uplift other people, other brands as well. And another thing that I wanted to do was build a community that will really uplift everybody else. And so, as being my first guest, I would love for you to join the Scarethusiast Club. I got to figure out another line for it, but I say this Scarethusiast Club, uh, paranormal agents or paranormal help, you know. But basically, it's everyone that I have on the show. I'm going to offer it to, but I want to build this thing to be a good networking process for a lot of us to really share each other's content and really promote. You know, so when I go to like Texas, you being a part of this, I can promote your book. But hey,
Yeah,
this is what we have.
absolutely.
Um, and then on top of that, really just help each other because I know we all want to do this instead of work 9 to 5s, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And help build a structure, a system to help lower income content creators become bigger content creators. Therefore, being a part of this process and helping me really just build something that no one's ever really built before. Because I know we have this, you got like the Travel Channel, you have all those big
Yeah.
um, companies, but they have their own networking and paranormal, you know, teams and people. So I want to build this the Scarethusiast Club one where we really just help everyone else out. So want to offer you a membership.
Yeah, for sure.
So
What is that like what does that involve like what do I need to do?
nothing really, just whenever you want, you can share content promoting my brand. Basically every up someone says hi Allie.
Hi. Oh, hey Becca. I
Hi
know her. I've
Becca.
been
Basically people who get this, I promote their brand every week, once a week, regardless of if you're on the show with me or not.
okay.
And that goes for all my platforms. But really, that's just basically it. I'm just promoting networking. If I'm in your area, I'll reach out to you. Let me know if you know of anybody, anything like that. If you're in my area, vice versa. But really, just to build up a network that can help everyone get really their brands up. I mean, I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
everyone's gonna be filthy rich out of this, but I mean, if we all have tens of thousands of followers and we're able to go and do things and collaborate, it'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely. That sounds like a lot of fun and that sounds like really beneficial.
I will definitely send you more information later on this upcoming week about that.
Awesome.
Is there any last comments or anything like that? Unfortunately, we didn't have any questions today.
It's okay. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. I'm very honored to be the first guest on your live show thingy. I had a lot of fun, and sorry I couldn't hear you some of the time.
It's okay, no
Um,
worries. I got to work on the audio here.
yeah, it's all good. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. I thought your questions were really interesting, and I it was a good conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. The last thing that I will say though is that we will be going live for all the guests some week in between either the 22nd, between the 22nd or the 30th. I'm gonna reach out to you and everyone else. And basically, this live is we're just gonna try to do a group live. I'll probably do a couple, of those. But you're always welcomed to join in. You're always welcome to anything like that. And if I happen to be up in your neck of the woods, if you want to join me, my team on investigation, I got you.
Awesome, that'd be great. Thank you.
Welcome. I will be in touch with you a little bit later on today with the stats about how the episode went. Once
Okay,
again, guys, please go and like and follow her. I'm also going to post another one to tell my community and my following to still go and like and follow you. Okay. Thank you so much, dude. I appreciate it. Have a
thank
good
you.
day with you and your
Thank you
fiance.
too. Thanks.
All right. Peace.
Bye.